Hello and welcome to today's video. I recently received a package from my favorite watch brand on AliExpress, Proxima, which is an SBDX001 homage and their special project. I'll get into details shortly. So I ordered the watch disassembled basically, so that I could put it together, do my own mods, etc. I've purchased the same watch in titanium about almost 10 years ago now. This is also heavily modded, and there will be a separate video on all of the mods that I've done to this watch. When I purchased this, I selected it to come with the ceramic bezel insert, which the company is very nice about. You can communicate with them, ask them for customization options, etc. And they're very communicable, responsive, and very helpful. So kudos to them for this. And so I basically, this was not the original version. It had a beautiful red dial which I scratched up and then unintentionally damaged. I wanted to replace it with that same burgundy red dial. I wasn't able to because Proxima was not making this anymore, and so they sent a silver unpainted but sunburst brushed dial, which is also beautiful. And then I did several different modifications to this. But anyway, when I ordered this with a sapphire bezel, I thought that was my first experience with a sapphire bezel insert, and I thought it could have been fragile, and because it's a very specific size, plus 10 years ago you didn't have as many options on AliExpress as you do now, even though still this is not a standard, and I'm not sure that you can get this size anywhere other than Proxima on AliExpress. But anyway, just as a spare part, I ordered another one, and I've had it in storage ever since, because the original sapphire bezel never got a single scratch on it or any type of damage. So I'm very happy with it. I'm ready to use this bezel insert on another build by Proxima. Not by Proxima, but I guess by me with Proxima parts. Anyway, so I ordered the case, the dial, which comes in a set with a chapter ring, and obviously there are different colors. For the green one, it comes with a green chapter ring and a ceramic lumed bezel insert. And this build will come, there's on the way another one of these cases, and so that dial and bezel combination will go on this build. It's a lovely green dial with BGW9, so blue lume. Unfortunately, I do not have a NH35 with blue lumed date disc, and by now I'm spoiled with all my watches having, all my NH35 watches having a lumed date wheel, and so I'm going to wait until I get that lumed date disc and do that build then. And until I do that, today we will build it with this mother of pearl patchwork, as they refer to it, patchwork dial. You can get these dials on the Heimdaller official factory watch store or watch factory store. Anyway, Heimdaller. They recently started selling this. There are color options, blue, red, light blue, white, etc. I wanted to utilize this beautiful fully lumed sapphire bezel insert, and I couldn't get, as I said, the burgundy dial from Proxima anymore. They don't make it, and so I got this dial, which does have a C3 lume on the indices as well as on the date disc. And then I spent almost 2 hours grinding these down using a very flat knife sharpening stone. You need to be very careful, wear gloves, and be careful when touching this and you know, doing your movements on any kind of sandpaper or sharpening stone, because if you get any of the grit on here and move your hands around, it's very easy to take the paint off. This is very delicate work. It is metal, some sort of yellowish metal, copper, but the paint on it is very fragile. I was lucky, didn't get any chips or any damage on the chapter ring, but yeah, you have to be careful. And why this had to be done is because Proxima have their own custom dials like this, which have notches. I don't want to touch the dial with my fingers. So it has notches like this, and so it is not your standard 28.5 millimeter width. The edges of these notches are, but the circumference and this round part is not. And then consequently they have a very tiny lip around the lower side of this. You can see on, yeah, that lip. And it basically, and there's 2 notches corresponding to these sections, and you basically line it up and put it on top, and then that ends up being the outer edge of the chapter ring. Not all your standard dials will accept the Proxima chapter ring, because the dimensions of the indices don't always coincide, so you have to select a dial, which I have done, and there is almost a 0.5 millimeter on each side, lower, upper, everywhere I can place with the dual sticky tape this chapter ring onto it and then install it in the movement. So for that I will be doing that off camera, because it's a bit of a tedious process. But as you can see, I've cut up little sections, and I'll use at least 4 if not 6 to go around, and then I'll try to install it on camera so you see what's going on. Now I will move this aside and spend a little time talking about the case and what's special about the case. Proxima is a really cool brand. They they have originality. They don't just homage and copy another watch. They add their own flair, and sometimes it's an awkward flair, but when they get the watch right, it's a perfect watch. The SBDX001 versions that are available on AliExpress, in my subjective opinion, Proxima has by far the best. And also the PX1700 series of watches they make are just beautiful, exquisite timepieces for the price. Of course, exquisite is a bit of a strong word, but they're truly very nice. So this is a monoblock case. Anybody that knows the SBDX001 line, the Marinemaster 300, knows that it's a monoblock case. and that's one of the main attractions. And so is this. So Proxima stayed true to the original design, both on the titanium version, which again I have modded. I've changed the case back, as you can see, and similarly on the stainless steel PVD black coated version they make. It's a monoblock, but with a very special and a nice twist to it. I guess additional design twist, and I'll show you the benefit of that twist at the end. So another cool thing about disassembly of this watch is, and this is actually shared by the homages of this watch by Proxima and Heimdallr. As I understand, Heimdallr has this feature as well. So you don't need to pop off the bezel to get access to your movement and take off the front side. What you can do is use this ball thing and just unscrew, and it screws in anti-clockwise and screws out clockwise. So when you want to unscrew it, you go this way, and when you want to unscrew it, you go clockwise. And so I've already unscrewed it, and it has a rubber o-ring around that goes into a corresponding lip, etc., and provides your 300 meter, as claimed, 300 meter water resistance. Now it's this some sort of metal. It's not a heavy metal, could be titanium, I don't know, or could be aluminum or magnesium. Anyway, they have this metal spacer that is installed here. Proxima made these cases to be compatible with a variety of movements, most commonly with an NH35, but also PT 5000, and I believe an ETA movement, or one of the Swiss movements. So they would have a different spacer, different way of installing, but the concept is the same. And so they also have an O-ring. So they really thought this out through. There's an O-ring that goes in an internal ring in here. It does not necessarily serve a water resistance function, but what it does is provide cushioning, some cushion for this metal spacer. So when you put it in there, it's not steel on steel, metal on metal, but there is a rubber cushion ring underneath. Very nice. So and then on top it is pressed down from this sapphire crystal, and the bezel section pushes down this lip right here. This ring, the flat section, pushes down onto the chapter ring and holds your dial and your watch movement in. Okay, now what I do with my SBDX homage watches, and not only, many others, is I change the case back. And as you can see, it has space for this logo section that gets stuck to it with a dual sticky tape. Does it serve a function? Absolutely none, other than just showing the logo. It serves no water resistance, no rigidity, nothing. I mean, it's a separate section, and it has nothing to do with a monoblock case. The whole thing about the monoblock is that it's an one-piece construction. this just gets stuck to it. It's not even covered fully with dual sticky tape, so there's plenty of space for water to get in if it was to get in. But so the original thickness of this case back hasn't changed. All I've done is very carefully and slowly ground down the lip around, and I don't know, maybe 1/10 of a millimeter from the middle section, just because you want to there is mill marks on the back, and I wanted it to be uniform, I guess, visually. And so when you grind down a PVD coated case, it exposes the metal underneath the natural color of the metal, the silvery color, and otherwise it would just be black in the middle and then a lip around, so it wouldn't look right. So let's now take a measurement. I can tell you that the watch assembled is about 14 millimeters thick, including the domed sapphire glass. Yeah, and it wears beautifully. But for those that are interested, does this compromise the water resistance? Let's take a measurement of how thick we've left this steel section here. How I do that, quick hack and a tip on your calipers. So if you don't want to spend around 50 bucks, 30 to 50 bucks on a thickness measuring device that could do that, it's like a C-clamp thing. It's called a micrometer actually. I don't really need to measure microns. 1/10 of a millimeter this can do, and that serves my function fine. So what I did was take a very thin 1.5 millimeter drill bit, and manually, right, with something like this, did a hole. Because if you do this with a power tool, you could get through or misaligned, or you gotta take your time and slowly make a hole in here. And then I cut off a toothpick. The toothpick that is very snug into this hole, and that way I can measure the thickness of my watch cases and watch case backs and etc. So you zero it out and voila. Okay, so let's do some measurements. And as you can see, 1.4. Originally it was 1.4, maybe 1.5, but not more in this section. And I'll have another Proxima case coming in, as I said, and I'll do another measurement, but that's basically it. This did not diminish a bit at all, and that way you do away with that lower bulge that SBDX cases usually have, and which drives a lot of smaller wrist watch enthusiasts away that may very much like the design, the shape factors, blah blah blah, everything, but they just can't wear it. It's too much. So this is a very good option for people like that. Okay, so now I can start assembling. Let's do that. For the very tedious sections, I will have to probably do that off camera, so apologies ahead. So this, as I said, is the O-ring, the cushion O-ring that goes inside the case, lower of this, below of this spacer. So I will put it in some silicone grease. And it lays into that groove just like that. And I'll correct it. It's always good to put some silicone on this because it helps for the rubber to get stuck to the metal inside that groove. And sometimes if this is dry, it may just resist getting in like it is doing now. It would be much worse if it was dry. Looks like it's in everywhere. Fine. Now I need to put this in, align it to the winding crown, as you see here. Okay, and as it went down, I already feel that it is sitting on that rubber, because you don't have that steel on steel or metal on metal touch and sound and feel. So it is installed fine. And I guess now I'll pause the video, take this away. This was just to show you some of the original parts from Proxima, which again are beautiful, very nice textured green dial. The details of those parts will be in the next video when I build another one of these. So now I need to put this aside, put that away, and put some dual-sided sticky tape on the chapter ring so I can glue it to the dial, and I'll be back. And I'm back. As you can see, I've stuck quite a few little pieces of this sticky tape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to be specific, and because the way the top section, this section installs is by screwing down, and it pushes down on this chapter ring to press the movement inside and hold it steady, and also provide, I mean, you have to crank it down to ensure the water resistance, and if this is not stuck well to the dial, it may shift, move around, and then your minute markings will not coincide with the indices, with the bezel insert, etc. So you want as many of these as possible. Now I will take off very carefully, take off the paper top of the dual sticky tape, and then I'll have to install it on the dial again very carefully, and I'll be back once I take off the sticky tape. Okay, I'm back again, took off the back side, the paper side of the sticky tape, and now come to the, I guess, most difficult part, because I cannot make a mistake here. It will be rather difficult to take this chapter ring off the mother of pearl dial. So once I put it on, there is no changing it. Again, I'll have to do this off camera, sorry. Okay, that came out quite nice. I was able to put it on evenly, I believe. believe. Oh, and again, of course, the links to all the parts used will be in the description. Where I purchased them. So I selected these hands because they have kept second hand, which I found to like much recently. Fully set. Actually, I found setting the hands on the watch is actually done better without this soft cushioning, because you do need the rigidity of the back. That seems to be on well. No need to push it down further. Make sure that it's rotating fine. Find the date change again, and it's our 12th. And now we can set the minute hand. trick that works better with a second hand. This is now lined up perfect to my full satisfaction, and I have a second sand left to install, which is again a very tedious job, and I'll have to apologize again to do it off camera. But yeah, here are the power and minute hands installed. I'll be back. So all the hands have been installed. This is how it looks. I think it came out quite beautiful, and it's all matchy and C3 lume. So now I can take out the winding stem, start installing it into the case. Unfortunately, I can do most of that on camera. I'm going to use the holder. I'll just take it out. I've learned how to hold this in my mouth actually, and use the tip of this to push down on that lever to release the winding stem, and it's for me more comfortable doing it that way rather than messing with this movement holder for this specific task. Though the movement holder does serve its function quite well when it's needed. So now I need to put this inside here. Sure that it's lined up there. Yep, that's the section. And let's use this. Put it in just like that. Now once we install the stem, I will hold it in. And here is the stem. It has the winding stem. The cool thing about the Proxima SBDX001 homage is that, again, they think little tiny details through. They have 3 nice O-rings on the winding stem. 3. I barely have 1 on some of the other Seiko homages, and many have the 1 single O-ring inside of this thread. I prefer this solution because it's easier to access and replace in case it gets damaged. So what they do in case what Proxima does with these stems, and they're the only ones, Heimdallr and Steel Dive and what's the other one? All the other homage builds that I know of, the brands, they do not use this very clever solution. And this allows to unscrew on this collar section, and there's a tiny screw in here. Once you unscrew that, you can then pop out the winding stem and take out the movement. In case of Heimdallr, I've seen reviewers basically to break it out and then have to replace the whole movement mechanism that gets damaged while doing that. So let me just make sure this is tight. It seems to be tight, and it should be pre-cut by Proxima to fit into this case and the movement perfectly. Let me hold it down and rotate and move in. There, it should go in now. There we go. Now push that inside and bare winding. I can now move this down. And put this back on with the click spring. Let's not forget our click spring. That's not too difficult to install. Put that in. To hold that section. Hole that it goes in, and then you catch it with these teeth. Okay, and then I need to screw this entire mechanism down that way, as if I was unscrewing it. So let's do NT first so that the thread catches right there. It should now be screwing down. Yep. Okay, so before I crank it down, I want to make sure that the chaptering is not moving, and it did slightly at the 6 o'clock indices here. 9 is okay, 12 is I guess okay, but it shifted slightly at 6. Let me see if I crank it down farther. Does it? Yeah, you see how much it shifted? Oh, that's not what we want. Otherwise it looks beautiful. That red mother of pearl dial. Let's throw this insert in. Yeah, that looks quite nice. And this black PVD really brings out the red dial. So realizing that this happens and it moves the chapter ring when you crank this down. I will now unscrew this and try to put some silicone grease around the chapter ring very carefully, and only on that section where it touches the metal as I screw it down, and hopefully that will help it slide better and not shift the bezel insert. I'll do that and be back. So I screwed it down the best I could. I put some silicone grease on the section where the top screw down glass section, whatever, touches the chapter ring, to press it down onto the dial. And again, I mean, I couldn't have done more. It's fine at the 12, 9 and 3 o'clock markers, and it is slightly shifted towards the right on the 6 o'clock, but I'll have to live with it. The rest works just fine. So now I will clean out the notch for the bezel insert to go in with some rubbing alcohol so that it accepts the dual-sided sticky tape better. And I will then glue this on, and I'll be back. And here it is, all assembled. I think it came out quite nice, if you're willing to overlook the 6 o'clock mishap. Dial is, as I said, not from Proxima, it's a handler dial. I did not buy it from handler factory store, but basically it's the same dial that they sell now. But the lume application, as you can see, is quite even, and the handset does have even brighter lume, so I'm quite happy with how this came out. And because these are stainless steel cases and they are significantly heavier and bulkier than the titanium counterparts, I am not going to wear this on a bracelet. I would actually purchase, I would love to purchase the DVD Black Folded original bracelet. It, but I know that I won't wear it much due to the weight. I will have a separate review on this SBDX001 or the Marinemaster clasp with the diver extension, as you can see. And this is titanium, and the internal parts are stainless steel. Let's have a look on the wrist. Do a quick wrist shot. And that came out beautiful. Very nice. So now the measurements of what we ended up with after the modification of the back with sanding this down, making it flat, making it way more comfortable. And now even the contouring of the lugs does follow through. And so if we take a measurement, take out this little hack of mine, 0, and now measure the thickness of the watch, 14.7. Oh, that's a bit too much. What's going on? Can I zero this? Yeah, 0. Okay, that means I'm not screwed down all the way, and there's a gap of 0.4 because when I measured it before, while I was able to screw it down fully, it was 14.1. So if I push down any farther on this, it'll just misalign the chaptering further, so I won't do it for now. But it comes down to 14 in thickness when you do this mod on the case back. So this is your Marinemaster 300 variant by Proxima, and let's have another one, another version of theirs, a little surprise trick with a little swoop of the hand. Bam! That's a turtle case. Same watch. So how is that done? Is a very clever solution by Proxima. They made interchangeable cases with a universal monoblock. This is a great idea for those that are into the Seikos and have an inch each for the turtle case, but not necessarily like the dial or any other features of the turtle, which I do prefer the Marinemaster. Both the dials and the handsets or Seikos, I prefer those to any other Seiko variants. So the idea of transferring your visual of the dial and the internals of the Marinemaster 300 into a turtle case is a great idea, and I think they have executed it very well. So you maintain basically the same thickness and almost the same wearability. I don't really feel much difference on how this wears as opposed to the Marinemaster 300 case. So how these are interchangeable is these two screws. Hopefully this is visible. There is a screw on both sides, right there and right here. Let's see if you can zoom in. Yeah, you see that screw there. Sorry. Yeah, that screw. You unscrew those two, unscrew your crown, and it just pops out. And that's all you have to do. Then you pop it back into here with an unscrewed winding crown. Once you pop it back in, you tighten these two screws and then tighten down the winding crown, and you're done. It only takes 2 minutes. And so if you kind of get tired of wearing a Seiko turtle, you can switch it to a Marinemaster 300 in a matter of a minute, and back and forth. So now I will have, for example, two Proximas in the black PVD Marinemaster 300 cases. One will have a green dial, the other one will have this red or a blue dial, wave pattern, beautiful, by Proxima, on the way. And by just adding a shroud, so basically you can purchase, along with your purchase of a Marinemaster 300, you add about 30 to 35 USD depending on the period, if there is sales, etc. But for 35 USD you can surely get from them an additional shroud, and that way you have two watches. You have a Marinemaster 300 and a turtle. And I think Proxima can continue doing this and take it even farther, expanding into maybe different models as well, and not only these two, but the interchangeable parts could also be not only that, but this comes off, the bezel comes off very easy here. So it would be a good idea to have a selection of parts that are interchangeable, not only the shroud but also the bezel. I might want an all dark, all black bezel on this, pop it off, pop another one on, etc. So there are great options for Proxima to continue doing this. Unfortunately, as I was told by their representative, this is the last 100 cases that Proxima has made for the Marinemaster 300 and the turtles. They only had 100, and I bought two, and I imagine they're also selling some other numbers. So if you are interested, and I don't see why you wouldn't be, if the Marinemaster 300 is something that attracts you, as I said, I mean, the quality of execution is top-notch by Proxima. There are no sharp edges. I have to point out, I have Marinemaster 200 homage cases. I had to send the edges down. They were just cutting sharp. A thorn case. Where is my thorn case? Here. This is a thorn Marinemaster 200 case, which actually is better than this case, and both are Marinemaster 200 cases, both from AliExpress, but quite a lot of difference, and I do prefer the thorn for pretty much everything in terms of build quality. But even this one on these edges is sharp, and where it is milled, you know, you can find rather sharp edges, even though they're not accessible for daily wear. They don't really bother you, but there's plenty of sharp edges here. On the Proxima, none. Very nice smooth feel, and it applies not only to the Marinemaster 300 but also the turtle shroud. So I can very strongly recommend this combination. And I talked to them, do you have any plans to continue working and expanding this interchangeable idea, etc.? And the answer was no, not right now. These are the last 100, a batch of 100 that we've ordered, and no plans for any future batches. So again, anybody interested, you need to jump on this now. And what they also said was that if there is demand for another batch, they would, but they need, as they explained, an order for 200, and so they may have a thing where they do a pre-order to gather some clients, make sure that they can sell these pieces, and then they will make them. I have quite a few very practical suggestions for modifying and making these Seiko cases something of their own, the Seiko homages that they make, similar to, for example, San Martin. San Martin have their own interpretation of Marinemaster 300. they first version they came out with was a very close replica or a copy of the original shape and dimensions, but the second one they came out with, unfortunately, with a 19mm lug width for whatever reason. But what they have is a flat case back, very similar to what I've done, but my mod is actually way older, and I did this 8 or 10 years ago. I don't think the San Martin model is as old as this mod, but even then I do prefer this version, as I believe the San Martin is flat on top, where this is actually slightly even contoured, and overall this is just a very close imitation of the original Seiko, whereas the San Martin version, when you look at it, yes, sure, the inspiration is evident, very clear, but it is not the same kind of watch. So I will make another separate video about the Marinemaster 300 versions by Proxima, and what I think they should do in their future production of these watches to again distinguish them, make it their own design cues, and hopefully have a good number of sales, because people should like them. Thank you very much for sticking through on this video, and please like if you like the content. Click that like button, and most importantly, please subscribe for future content like this. Have a good one. Thank you.